Good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished members of the industry. Is it okay if I take my mask off? All right, okay, otherwise it will sound very muffled, won't it? Organizers of the Telecom Review Summit, good afternoon, salam alaikum. My name is Ekow Nelson. I have global responsibility for our business with Etisalat. And I'm pleased, especially pleased to be here at this August summit to talk about the enabling world of limitless connectivity. As a company that's been around for 150 years, we are busy connecting the world with 5G, which is the most innovative technology platform that has been invented and will provide the basis as a key enabler for innovation going forward. Today, I will talk about how cellular technology and 5G will definitely enable this, both for the consumer and in the enterprise space. But before I do that, last week, or was it this week, Ericsson published the biannual mobility report. It's 10 years since we've been doing this, and so it's a very good time to look back at what we predicted and how much the world has changed. Over the past 10 years, mobile technology has had a significant and huge change on the world, society and business at large, well beyond what we as an industry even imagined. In that period, the number of subscriptions, smartphone subscriptions, have gone up from a mere 9 million 10 years ago to 5.5 billion. Mobile network traffic has increased 300 times. And much more importantly, we continue to see a rise in the use of mobile technology. I've heard it asked many times, were all your predictions right? Largely, they were right. We were wrong in two areas that I've picked up. In 2016, we said the number of 4G subscriptions will be 4.1 billion. This year, it will be 4.7 billion. So if anything at all, we underestimated the number of 4G subscriptions. In the same year, in 2016, we predicted that the number of 5G subscriptions will be 150 million. This year, it will be 660 million. 500 million short. And the point that I'm making here is that this industry has been accelerating at a much faster rate than any of us could predict. What happened 10 years ago, the change that we saw 10 years ago, will be exceeded and overwhelmed by the changes that we see in 10 years from now. So what will we see in 10 years? I'm probably in your way. 5G will become the dominant mobile technology, carrying over 50% of all mobile subscriptions in the world. 4G subscriptions will drop close to 3 billion. FWA connections will increase to 90 million this year, 230 by the end of 2027, covering over 1 billion, close to 1 billion inhabitants on Earth. And of course, massive IoT is going to be the dominant cellular IoT technology as we move forward. In short, there'll be more change in the next 10 years than there was in the last 10. And it will be shaped by a confluence of factors. Many of these factors are known to you. Climate crisis on the society and geopolitical front, global fragmentation, post-pandemic society, and of course, on the left-hand side, as you can see, connectivity, increased use of smartphones, AI, and the mirror onto the world. I'm not going to go through all of these, except to say that it's the confluence of these forces that will create an opportunity that we've never seen before. I'll take a few and explain why. Climate crisis is the existential crisis of our age. The next decade, with climate change and deteriorating weather conditions, will have a huge impact on the world in which we live. And we as technology providers have a role to play in addressing this existential crisis. And I'm pleased to say that Ericsson and Etisalat have both made commitment towards a zero target carbon emissions by 2030. So technology is going to have a huge role to play in terms of how we build and how we operate our networks. On the technology side, we are going to have more connectivity than we've had before with trillions of sensors. We are also going to be seeing the opportunity to create a mirror of our world using digital technology in what is called the digital twin. What will all of these forces allow us to do as consumers? So from a consumer perspective, it allows us, these technologies or these changes will allow us to be there without being actually physically present. We will be able to participate in events that we've not been able to participate in for cost and distance reasons. We will be able to use technology to access services that we've never been able to do before. And if you go back to the pandemic, one of the key lessons from the pandemic is our ability to work and in a hybrid manner between the physical and the non-physical world. That hybrid interrelationship is not a transient thing, it's going to be a permanent thing. For Christ's sake, we had an Olympics without spectators. Will we have a World Cup in 2022 without spectators? And are we going to be able to enjoy it? The world has changed where our experience of things that we used to do 100 years ago is completely going to be different than it was before. So immersive experiences and what people call the metaverse are going to be an important part of what we do as we move forward. From an enterprise perspective, with 5G technology, we are now in a position to be able to leverage the connectivity and the digital and spatial technology advancements to be able to build and change the asset-heavy industries. If you go back to the 19th century where you had the horse carriage technology, which drove the automobile industry with Henry Ford, we're moving from that world into a world in which we have a digitally designed car operated by electric power and managed and controlled by the cloud with constant monitoring and updates of software on a physical product. That's a confluence of that digital and the physical divide that I talked about earlier. Factories will be able to create a mirror image in the digital world and simulate and actually design everything that they need to do and be able to then transport that into the physical world of the factory. So we're going to see, as we say here, a shift in the paradigm for how products are created. Products will be created digitally and then produced physically. And that's a very huge transformation to what we've seen in the past. There are 4 factors that will drive this. First of all, this requires a new type of network. A network has certain attributes. One is a network that is dynamic and extensive, a network that's highly intelligent, and a network that is able to deal with processing anywhere across the network, but much more importantly, the ability to process complex workloads regardless of location. And then finally, the attributes of reliability and resilience are also going to be important ingredients. The second is we cannot do this alone. This has to be done as part of a collaboration across the entire industry. So the cooperation across the ecosystem is going to be an important part of the journey as we move forward. Governments have a role to play. What are the regulations for driverless cars? Governments have a role to play in determining how these technologies will reshape the society in which we live. And then finally, consumer education is going to be important, particularly to prevent misuse and the spread of false information. So finally, the real secret here is the importance of collaboration. And we as Ericsson, we see ourselves having two roles. The first role is to continue our role as a creator and innovator. We will use our position as a technology leader to continue to develop energy efficient and extensive, dynamic, and highly intelligent, resilient, trustworthy, and capable network solutions as we've done for the last 150 years. Secondly, we will continue to shape the industry for the benefit of everyone. We will take an orchestrator role to ensure that this technology is brought and harnessed for the innovation across all of business, life, and entertainment. And that means we'll continue the work that we've done in defining open standards and enable mobile innovation. We will bring together partners and ecosystems, and our acquisition of Vonage and Cradlepoint are examples of how we're looking to build a broader ecosystem. And then, of course, we will evolve ways in which we expose the network functions to enable other industries and enterprise to innovate on what we believe is going to be a game-changing platform for the rest of the world as we move forward. Thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to engaging with you after this session. Thank you.